Apologies for using a throwaway account, but too many people I know follow my main one, and this situation is deeply personal. I'll be vague with some details to protect everyone's privacy. It's exactly as the title says. A guy kissed me in our apartment, and my fiancé walked in and saw it happen. Let's call my fiancé Mark. Mark and I have been together for nearly 6 years and engaged for the past year. I love him more than I can even explain. He's calm, kind, incredibly smart, and he's been my best friend through everything. I've never cheated, never even thought about it. I avoid putting myself in situations that could be misread. This all started last month when my cousin Ava introduced me to a guy she was dating, let's call him Leo. She wanted me to help him with job opportunities in my field since he was struggling to find work and I happened to be a project manager at a mid-sized tech firm. Leo and I talked here and there, mostly via text, and always about jobs, interviews, resumes, etc. There was nothing personal or flirty. All our messages are still on my phone. Not even a single emoji that could be misunderstood. Mark knew about Leo. He even joked that I'd probably regret helping a guy Ava's dating, because Ava doesn't always pick great people. I laughed it off. Then last Friday, everything blew up. We had a small movie night at our place, just me, Mark, Ava, Leo, and a few other friends. Midway through the evening, Ava went out to get snacks. The others were in the living room setting up the projector, and I went to the kitchen to check on the popcorn. Leo followed me in. We were talking about an upcoming interview he had, and I was giving him pointers. And then, out of nowhere, he leaned in and kissed me. I froze. I didn't kiss him back. I didn't move. I was just so shocked. That's when Mark walked in. He dropped the drinks he was holding. The sound snapped me out of it, and I immediately pulled away. Mark just stared. Didn't say a word. His face, I've never seen him look like that before. Like he didn't know who I was. Leo tried to explain, said it was a misunderstanding, but Mark didn't even look at him. He just walked past us, out the door, and didn't come back that night. I haven't seen him in 3 days. I didn't sleep that night. I called Mark over and over. Left voicemails. Texted him everything I could think of, please come back, let me explain, I didn't kiss him, you have to believe me. No reply. Not even the read receipts. I sat on the edge of our bed staring at the wall until the sun came up. The apartment still smelled like popcorn. There was a shoe on its side near the door, one of Mark's. He must have left in such a rush he didn't even notice. The next day, Ava came over, and she was furious. At me. She slammed the door behind her and yelled, "What the hell did you do to Leo?" I told her exactly what happened. That he kissed me. That I didn't kiss him back. That Mark saw it. Her face changed, but not how I expected. She didn't look surprised. She looked conflicted. Like maybe, just maybe, she wasn't as shocked as she wanted me to believe. Then she said something that's been stuck in my head ever since. Leo told me you'd been texting him for weeks. That you were always too friendly. That you led him on. I was stunned. I told her to look at my phone, every single message was about job stuff. Nothing more. I handed her the phone. She scrolled. Didn't say anything. Just handed it back. She muttered, "He's such a liar," and left. That same night, I got a text from Mark. Just one sentence. "You didn't even push him away." I stared at it for a long time. I must have read it 100 times. He was right. I didn't push Leo away, I froze. I didn't shove him, I didn't yell, I just stood there like a statue. In Mark's eyes, that probably looked like acceptance. Like guilt. I didn't respond right away. I didn't know how. I wanted to scream, I was in shock, but part of me wondered if that was just an excuse. Should I have reacted faster? Hit Leo? Slapped him? Did my reaction look like a secret being exposed? And now, Mark has asked to meet. Tomorrow. He said, I need to look you in the eye. I don't know what's coming. An apology? A breakup? I'm scared I've already lost him. But I also know I didn't do anything wrong, and now I have to prove that to the only person who matters. I barely slept again. By the time morning came, I had rehearsed 100 versions of what I might say. But every time I thought of Mark's face in that kitchen, the confusion, the pain, my throat would close up. He texted again around 9 a.m. I'll be at the park. Our spot. 10:30. That text hit different. Our spot, the bench by the lake, where he first told me he loved me, where we went the night he proposed. I was terrified that he chose it now, because it might be our last memory there. When I got there, he was already sitting on the bench, hands folded, elbows on his knees like he was trying to hold himself together. He didn't look at me when I sat down next to him. We sat in silence for a long minute. Then, he spoke. Quietly. I need to ask you something, and I want you to answer at once. No justifications. No long explanations. Just yes or no. I nodded. He turned and finally looked me in the eyes. Did you want him to kiss you? I didn't blink. Didn't hesitate. No. He nodded slowly, looking down at his hands again. Then why didn't you move? I swallowed. Hard. I froze. I didn't expect it. I didn't know what was happening. It felt like it wasn't even real. He sat back. Stared out at the lake. I could see the muscle in his jaw clenching. I keep replaying it in my head, he said. That second I walked in. You didn't push him, you didn't yell. You looked, still. I tried to speak, but my voice cracked. I was in shock, Mark. It wasn't what it looked like. He finally looked at me again. But softer this time. That's the problem. It looked like something. Then he pulled out his phone and held it up. A message from Leo. It was a screenshot Ava had forwarded him. Leo had texted her saying, she's been flirty since day one. I made a move. She didn't stop me. What else do you call that? I felt sick. You believe that? I asked, my voice shaking. He shook his head. I don't know what to believe. That's what's killing me. The silence between us got heavy again. Like neither of us knew which way the conversation was about to tip. I reached for my phone. You can read every single message. I've never deleted anything. I told you about Leo from the start. I've always been honest with you. He hesitated. Then, he took the phone. He didn't say a word while he scrolled. Just kept reading. Page after page. Work advice. Resume notes. Interview prep. Nothing else. After a few minutes, he handed it back. Okay. That helps. But his tone wasn't relieved. It was tired. Like this wasn't over, just paused. He stood up from the bench, slipped his hands into his jacket pockets. I need time. I know you didn't kiss him. I believe that now. But there's a part of me that's hurt that you didn't do more to stop it. Or even tell me right after. I had to walk in on it to find out. He looked at me again, but softer this time. I love you. That's not the question. I just don't know if I can forget what I saw. And then he walked away. I didn't chase him. I just sat there, on the bench, looking out at the water, wondering how something so simple, something I didn't even do, might still destroy everything we built. And I still don't know what happens next. It had been 4 days since the park. Mark hadn't contacted me again. No texts. No calls. Just silence, like he was still trying to decide if I was worth saving or letting go. I felt like I was in limbo. Every time my phone buzzed, my heart jumped hoping it was him, but it never was. Until the fifth night. I was getting out of the shower when my phone lit up. Ava. She had texted. We need to talk. It's about Leo. I hesitated before responding. I hadn't spoken to her since she stormed out of my apartment. We met at a coffee shop near her place. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. She sat down, leaned in, and said, I found something. I stayed quiet. She pulled out her phone and showed me a photo, a screenshot of a WhatsApp conversation between Leo and someone named Mike. Leo had sent a message that said, I told you it would work. Mark walked out just like we planned. Girl's too soft to fight back. Mark thinks she's been cheating now. Easy. I stared at the screen, my stomach turning. What is this? Ava looked sick. I didn't know about it until today. Mike's his friend, well, more like his roommate/hype man. I was at Leo's apartment to grab my stuff and his laptop was open. I saw that message. I took the screenshot and left. Haven't said a word to him since. I was shaking. You're saying this was planned? She nodded slowly. He wanted to break you and Mark up. Said you were too good for a boring guy like that. He thought if he created some drama, Mark would leave, and he could swoop in later and be the shoulder you cry on. I was speechless. I felt cold all over. You need to tell Mark, I finally whispered. Ava looked down. He blocked me. After the fight at your place. He thinks I'm part of it. I didn't wait. I stood up, phone in hand, and left the coffee shop. I texted Mark the screenshot. No caption. No explanation. 5 minutes later, he called me. Where did you get this? His voice was tight, like he was trying not to explode. Ava found it on Leo's laptop. She didn't know. She just found out today. So, it was a setup? Yes. He planned the kiss. He timed it. He wanted you to see. There was silence on the other end. Then he said, I'm coming over. I cleaned up the apartment like it mattered. Like somehow a clean countertop could make this all hurt less. When Mark walked in, he looked exhausted. But he didn't seem angry. Just deeply, deeply tired. He sat on the edge of the couch. I owe you an apology, he said. For doubting you. For walking out. For not giving you the benefit of the doubt. You were honest. And I didn't trust that. I sat beside him, not too close. You had every right to feel what you did, I said. But I'm glad you know the truth now. We sat in silence. Then he asked the one question I wasn't expecting. What do you want now? And I didn't answer right away. Because now I had to ask myself. Even if the truth is out, do I still want this relationship after all of it? Mark's question hung in the air like a loaded gun. What do you want now? It hit me harder than I thought it would. I had spent all these days trying to prove my innocence, fighting to protect us. But now that the truth was out, something in me had shifted. Not because I didn't love him, I did, but because now I had to be honest with myself, too. I turned toward him and said quietly, I want to feel like I'm trusted. Like I don't have to prove my love every time something bad happens. I didn't kiss Leo. I didn't cheat. But you walked out and shut me out like I had. He looked away, jaw tight again. I was hurt. I know, I said. But I was hurt too. I froze when someone crossed a line, and instead of being allowed to process that, I spent the week being treated like I was guilty. He nodded slowly. You're right. I continued. I still love you. I still want you. But I don't want to be in a relationship where one bad moment can make you doubt everything we've built. He closed his eyes and let out a long breath. So, where does that leave us? I looked at him, this man I had loved for 6 years, who had been my best friend, my safe place, and lately, my biggest source of pain. It leaves us with a choice, I said. We can rebuild, together, with honesty, therapy, patience. Or we walk away now, before we damage this more. He reached for my hand, hesitated, then held it. I want to fight for us. I want to rebuild, if you're still willing. I squeezed his hand gently. Then we start over. Slowly. But we both have to show up this time. And that's what we did. It wasn't instant. It wasn't magical. We didn't fall into each other's arms and pretend nothing happened. We went to therapy, both couples and solo. We rebuilt trust, one raw conversation at a time. We deleted Leo from our lives. Ava and I drifted apart naturally, not out of anger, but because she was a part of a chapter that had already ended. 6 months later, Mark proposed again, not with a ring, but with a simple question during a walk. Do you still want forever with me? And I said yes. But this time, it wasn't just about love. It was about choosing each other, even when things got hard.